welcome to CES MMA 58 from the beautiful Connecticut Convention Center in Hartford, Connecticut. I am Michael Parenti, your play-by-play commentator, alongside UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich joining me in the broadcast booth. Pat, a familiar face, of course, with local mixed martial arts. Pat, welcome back to the booth.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're looking forward to tonight and some great fights. Hope you are too.
Big night of action tonight. We've got 6 bouts on our main card. We have the submission specialist, Jesse Kozakowski from Waterbury, Connecticut, back in the cage. And, of course, the big, heavy-hitting heavyweight, Parker Porter from nearby Hartford. And who could forget the CES MMA World Welterweight Champion, Vinicius de Jesus, defending his belt for the first time. But before we get to all of that, we have an exciting bout in the flyweight division. We're going to send it up to our ring announcer, Adam Palazzo, for the official introduction.
The following fight is scheduled for 3 rounds in the flyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the gray trunks. He weighed in at 126 pounds. Tonight, he makes his pro debut. Training out of Brooklyn MMA and hailing from Brooklyn, New York, ladies and gentlemen, Adrian Haley. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks. He weighed in at 125 pounds. His pro record, 2 wins, 1 loss, with 1 big victory coming by way of submission. Fighting out of Underdog MMA and hailing from Meriden, Connecticut, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Juggernaut Valentin. Your referee is Mr. Kevin McDonald.
All right, gentlemen, there's 3 rounds of the Unified Rules of Mixed Martial Arts. We went over those in the back. I want a good, clean fight. Any questions? Any questions? If you'd like, touch gloves now. Good luck.
All right, welcome back to CES 58. Michael Parenti and Pat Miletich bringing you the action throughout the night. Very interesting one here tonight, Pat, in the flyweight division. Justin Valentin, the juggernaut, fighting out of Meriden, Connecticut. Very interesting. Last time out, he came in 2-0, flying high with a couple of wins early in his career. Took on 41-year-old Jason Huntley out of Minnesota. Somewhat of a journeyman, and Huntley pulls off the upset by majority decision. And Valentin said after that fight, Pat, he learned a lot from the loss, maybe more so than the victories.
Always do. In reality, I mean, you learn about the holes in your game through those losses. So very important to take losses eventually in your career. Khabib being one of the rare few that stays undefeated so far, but trust me, if he stays in the game, eventually somebody's coming along.
That's right. Eventually you will take that loss, and I hear a lot of fighters say that it's not about what you do before or leading into it, but what you do after that loss and how you react to it. We'll see how Valentin does. And one of the things he did say, Pat, was that he needed to work more on his grappling, so we'll see if that plays a factor in this fight here against Adrian Haley. Some nice striking so far, though, by Valentin.
Yeah. Well, good fighters are going to find your holes. That's the way it is.
Adrian Haley, somewhat of an unknown here. 7-3 as an amateur, had a really good background fighting out of New York, but not much known about him, and Valentin admitted as much in some of his pre-fight conversations that he didn't really get to see a lot of video, didn't really get a lot of prep time. And I think, Pat, a lot of fighters would say they just go out there and do what they do, not worry so much about what they see on the film.
You know what? I think there's a lot of people that depend on that mindset. Let me know any college or professional sports teams that don't scout their opponents, and I'll give you a couple $100.
3.5 to go in round number 1. Justin Valentin in the black trunks taking on Adrian Haley from Brooklyn in the gray and blue. Haley, 21 years of age, standing at 5'6". Slight height advantage over the 5'1" Valentin.
Haley's showing some good composure, actually, for a pro debut. Took the heat early and seems to be just fine.
What's that like going into your first pro fight? You know, the lights turn on, it's your first one, the butterflies must be there. How do you keep your composure and just focus on the fight at hand?
Well, I mean, you know, some people are able to do it, some people aren't. That's where, when the rubber hits the road, where people get thinned out, the herd gets thinned out, you know. It comes down to preparation, really. Anything that you do in life, if you're prepared for it, you go in with a lot more confidence. If you didn't prepare for it, you're going to be nervous and not so sure of yourself.
Valentin prepared for this one, said this was one of his best fight camps. He had a lot of injuries his last couple, didn't make excuses for his performance, but said this is probably the best he's felt coming into a fight. at least in quite some time.
Haley throwing great front kicks to the body on Valentin. Those will add up if you don't get out of the way of those or block them. They will add up on your breathing. Nice timing on that low kick, hurt his knee.
And again, Valentin going with the low kicks. Little two-punch combo there. 2 minutes to go in round number 1. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich live from the Hartford, Connecticut Convention Center. CES 58 live on UFC Fight Pass. Some nice action here in this opening round.
Nice kick by Haley. Quick release.
Some decent head movement too here from Haley, showing a lot of poise, like you said early on too.
One thing Haley's doing is he's doing a good job leaning his head off center when he throws his right hand. The problem is he's dropping his left hand when he does it. And anytime he leans that way, I'm telling my fighter, if Valentin's my fighter, every time he throws that right hand, throw your head kick and you'll meet him halfway. Just let him lean into it.
And I think Valentin's seeing it because he's trying to throw that overhand right. He landed one out of the clinch last time and just narrowly missed with the second one. Valentin, of course, won his pro debut at CES 53 in Rhode Island against Jesse Pyers, won his first 2 pro fights before suffering that loss at CES 55 right here in Hartford.
One thing Haley does well is he gets out of the way of attacks. Valentin needs to use more feints and fakes. Keep Haley guessing a little bit because every time Valentin comes forward, it's a real attack. And so you're not left guessing as his opponent.
Final 30 seconds of round number 1 in our opening bout on UFC Fight Pass. Valentin going for the takedown and gets it. That can always be a nice punctuation, Pat, on a close round if you can get something in the final 30 seconds, right?
Yeah, that certainly helps in the judge's eyes.
Haley just missing with that knee at the closing bell. Nice first round. Decent action.
I think Valentin did enough to win that round, to be honest with you. I mean, Haley looked good. It was a close round. Just take a look a little bit at the grappling that ensued there toward the end. You can see him locking up the body, gave the angle up, did Haley. So it was pretty easy for Valentin to just dump him.
Well, that's one of the things that Valentin said he wanted to work on was his grappling from the last fight. He's going there against a guy who does have a decent grappling background. He's trained by John Sissio. At least that's one of the coaches that he lists on his Tapology profile out of Brooklyn, New York. Sissio, a very good grappler in his time. So you got to think there are some elements of that to his game. We haven't really seen it play out yet. It's been mostly stand-up for the first 5 minutes. So perhaps in the second round, if we see some early takedown by either fighter, maybe we'll see what they have in that arsenal. We'll see how Valentin prepared for this coming off that last bout. Should be very interesting. But round 1 in the books of a scheduled 3 here in the flyweight division. And once again, we're live cage side from CES 58. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich, bringing you all the action live on UFC Fight Pass. Bell rings, we're ready to go.
Should keep working on that lead leg. He injured the knee of Haley in the first round. You can see Haley almost popping his knee back in the socket or trying to figure out what was wrong with it.
Is that a good weapon too, Pat, to use against a guy who's got a little bit of a height advantage on you?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and anybody that's got long arms and good jabs, you can basically take a lot of their weapons from them when you destroy that lead leg because they can't step forward quickly. They can't throw their jab effectively. So it really shuts them down quite a bit.
Good strategy by Valentin. Early seconds here in this second round. We've seen Haley try to flip that left jab, so it is part of his game.
Yeah, corner would be served well to keep chopping at that leg. Every time he throws that jab, just blast him.
You see the back of that leg, too, welling up a little bit.
Got a few marks.
Yeah.
Either inside or outside, just take the base from him.
I like how you put it, chopping it down. It's like just chopping down a tree, right? One swing at a time.
Can't operate without your base.
Valentin, of course, in the black trunks. Haley in the gray and blue. Backs up Valentin a little bit there.
He threw a hard body kick on that. On that liver. Good body kick.
Yeah, you see Haley trying to use his range now too, using his height and that reach to his advantage. A little slippery there. Valentin slips on the kick, but recovers nicely, gets back up. Can sometimes be a little dangerous spot there. 3 minutes to go in round 2 of a scheduled 3 here in the flyweight division. Justin Valentin taking on Adrian Haley out of Brooklyn, New York, who's making his pro debut. Haley now leading with that right hand. And here's Valentin going for another takedown.
Oh, nice punch out of the transition.
Crowd likes it. Of course, a pro Valentin crowd here as he's from nearby Meriden, Connecticut. And there he goes working on that lead leg again, like you mentioned, Pat.
Valentin sitting on the outside at the end of these kicks. It's just he needs to get inside and stay inside. He needs to walk Haley down. Haley's fighting a smart fight right now. Nice.
Yeah, Valentin's suddenly struggling with that distance against the taller Haley, but a nice shot there on the inside, just as we mentioned it, and then he goes back to the leg again. Really doing a nice job ducking some of those short right hooks by Valentin. Nice body work by Valentin with the left hook. It's tough, Pat. You want to get on the inside and take your shots when you can, but get out of there quickly, too, at the same time.
Well, I mean, again, like I said, Valentin, once you're inside, you're good. You're either wrestling or throwing uppercuts and hooks where you've got the advantage with the shorter limbs there.
Yeah, so perhaps in this case, it's actually disadvantageous for him to be on the outside circling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's at the wrong distance, period, against Haley. See how Haley can touch him and get out of the way.
Brief clinch there, but nothing of it. 1 minute to go in the second round of a scheduled 3. It's been a close round thus far. Something here in this final minute could sway it one way or the other. Valentin again working that leg, working that lead leg.
Those body kicks adding up, I bet.
Yeah, Haley's really done a nice job taking that out of his back pocket in this round, that midsection kick. Valentin shoots for the takedown, nothing doing. Nice job stuffing by Haley. Good poise for a pro debut.
Yeah, absolutely.
We mentioned he has a 7-3 amateur record coming into this bout, so certainly not a newcomer by any stretch.
Nice jab to a hook by Haley. Ooh, punch to the top of the head. That's a good way to break your hand.
Final seconds here, round 2, and that will do it. Interesting round, I thought, like you said, Pat. Valentin came out working on that lead leg, trying to chop down Haley, but Haley struck back nicely, used his distance to his advantage. Yeah. Also utilizing those midsection kicks, which can really slow your progress of your Valentin.
I think we're 1 round apiece right now.
Not a single teep straight to the body or roundhouse.
This is what I love too. When you go into that third round when it's even at 1 apiece, you want to always take note of who comes out with that sense of urgency when that bell rings in round 3. It really shows you what the corners are saying. And I think that's a part of it too, Pat, where the experience of your corner can play a factor going into that last round.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's a look at some of that action here in the second round.
Dropping in on the single leg. Haley doing a good job defending that. Also, Valentin landed a good shot during the transition. Guys at the higher level of the sport are very good at throwing punches and kicks during transitions. And there was a nice overhand right there landed by Valentin. Just needs to keep coming forward. He's got to walk the taller man down, period.
Well, Valentin did try for a couple of takedowns there. Neither were successful. Unlike that one in the end of the opening round that probably won him that round, or at least punctuated that round one for him.
Right.
Now we come into this one. It certainly helped. And I agree with you. I think this one's even at a round apiece. This could be the rubber round, if you will. Round number 3 here in the flyweight division of our opening bout. A great way to start the broadcast. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich live on UFC Fight Pass from the Connecticut Convention Center in beautiful Hartford. This time Valentin catches the midsection kick.
Nice job scrambling to stay with that.
So a good start to round 3 for Valentin. We'll see what he does. He did say wanted to work on the grappling, and we'll see if there's any improvement on that technique here as he gets a major opportunity 30 seconds into the 3rd round.
Haley trying to work his way over to the cage to lean against it, to use it to help him get up. You see Haley holding onto that wrist, hand control. Oh, he got too high. Nice job.
Haley sprawls out, gets back to his feet. Now we're back in the center of the cage, where we've seen really most of the action for this fight.
Good
nice right, yeah. Valentin walked right into that one, but again, you pay the price when you want to work on the inside, and I think I agree with you now. He really does have to work and close that distance. This is it right here. This is the 3rd and final round.
Beautiful little jab there. Haley's trying to pick him apart. Got to get to work. Turn it into a brawl.
Sure has. Haley doing a nice job.
I mean, Valentin needs to turn it into a brawl, period.
Again with that midsection kick.
He's huffing and puffing after those. They're adding up.
Oh, those knock the wind out of you. 3.5 to go in this fight. Haley finding his rhythm, using that distance and height to his advantage. Again with the midsection, just backing Valentin up.
He's parrying a lot of the shots that come from Valentin also. Haley's real good defense.
Now, Pat, sometimes you talk about changing levels, right? In this sport, you're going high, you're going upstairs.
Right.
Perhaps an opportunity to shoot for a takedown. There it is.
Well, and he didn't set it up, so I mean, the fact he got it is kind of a 50-50 thing. You know, he's just, I think here he's got to keep Haley on the ground and administer, you know, some punishment, but potentially get him in trouble with a submission. But Haley, good job scrambling out of there.
Again, Haley for the 2nd time scrambles like you said and pops right back to his feet. Good idea by Valentin.
Oh,
clips him with that right. Now 1-2 combo here. Valentin's starting to back up a bit. Sprawls again this time. Haley doing a nice job sprawling to stuff the takedown. Now he's got Valentin in a tough spot.
Really
Takes his back.
Good job.
Lightning fast by Adrian Haley here.
Figure 4 in the body already.
Valentin may have paid the price for that 3rd takedown attempt. Haley looks like he's in much more control on the ground than certainly Valentin was in his first 2 takedowns.
He's looking to finish.
2 minutes to go, and he's got a lot of time. And so far, in control of this round and in control in this particular situation. Let's see if he has that right forearm. Yeah. He's got that underneath enough, or Valentin's got that chin tucked. It's hard to tell from this angle, but anyway, slice it. Valentin's in a tough spot here with 1:40 to go.
Flattening him out now. Now he's in trouble.
Haley trying to lock that in, work those hooks. Take a couple of quick shots, and he does at least let it go for a second. 1:25 to go now in the fight. Softening him up with those hammer fists to the temple and the side of the head. Gets the right arm underneath again, working the midsection. Just really good strategy here by Haley.
And he works his leverage well. He's long. Good hammer fist there. He's doing damage from the top.
Yeah, may not get the submission, but he's certainly taking control of the round.
He's working on him.
He's trying to get it for sure.
He's wanting to finish. He's got it tight.
And that may be it. Valentin sprawling, and I think any second now he's trying to. He pulls the arm down.
Wow, nice job to save himself.
Buys himself at least 40 more seconds to try to do something or get to his feet, but it's been total control here by Haley in this third and final round.
He's got his head. He's pulling him over the top, trying to. Nice work.
Great job by Valentin. At least for the time being, saves himself from a submission. I don't know if he's going to be able to do enough to save himself unless he can lock one in here in the final 15 seconds. Stranger things have happened.
Yep.
Crowd urging him on. They want to see a finish. But Haley's, I think, sitting comfortably here, Pat, for these final few seconds. He can ride this out to a win.
Being smart.
Valiant effort, though, by Justin Valentin in these final seconds to at least get out of it. And a great fight by both. So that one is in the books. 3 rounds in the flyweight division. And I think a great job in the end, Pat, by Adrian Haley, the pro debut. Can always be tough going on the road in your first pro fight. You dropped the first round, but really showed incredible poise there to come back, and I think in both of our opinions to win rounds 2 and 3.
No, he fought well. He fought very well. Used his range well. Good work on the ground when he got the fight to the ground. Good defense when he was underneath. Good job getting back up when he got taken down. Valentin did a good job. Just, you know, he'll learn. He'll watch this and learn that he, you know, taller guys, you got to get inside.
Hands up, hands up, hands up. That was
I think certainly looked better from his last performance at CES 55, but maybe not enough to win. We'll take a look at some of the action here.
Haley coming forward, walking him down.
I believe that was the third of the 3 takedown attempts by Valentin. The first 2.
That one was almost just a...
Right.
That wasn't even an attempt in my book, really. It was kind of a just lunge forward. Here he is. He's got a hold of the head, pulling him over the top.
Certainly can't fault Valentin for the effort. He did a nice job there in those final seconds to
Sure.
at least, we thought he was tapping at least any minute now, really, when Haley had him
A couple of
behind.
times, it was very tight.
So kudos to him for breaking out of it, but it may not be enough in the end. We're going to find out. But again,
Don't leave it
Valentin,
to the judges.
You never want to leave it to the judges. That's correct. Whether you're home, road, anywhere, it can certainly be tough sledding. We never know what those scorecards might say, and we're certainly waiting on those right now. But a great opening bout here on UFC Fight Pass, CES 58 from the Connecticut Convention Center in beautiful Hartford, and that one was a dandy. I just very impressed with Haley's poise after that opening round, and of course impressed with how Valentin kept fighting back. Tough break for him too. He had a nice takedown in the first round. I think he tried to go to that a couple of times. We were talking about changing levels. He shot in for one, had some success, but Haley was just so good getting back to his feet too after his first 2.
He was, yeah. Good fundamentals.
Haley outside the cage. I think he's got some fans in the audience. Referee Kevin McDonald urging him back in.
Or he's taunting the folks from Hartford.
Or he's just ready to leave. But we're going to find out what the scorecards say. Let's send it up to our official announcer, Adam Palazzo.
Fight fans, after 3 tough rounds, we go to the scorecards. Judge Minor scored the fight 29-28. Judge Peabody scored the fight 29-28, and Judge Peterson scored the fight 29-28 for your winner by split decision, Adrian Haley.
So Haley gets the W as we predicted, but by split decision. So one judge did have it in favor of Valentin, and perhaps, I guess the only 2 rounds you could have him winning were the first and second, certainly not the 3.
Well, either way, like I said, I mean, the rounds weren't, neither guy completely dominated. So,
well, it goes in the books as a victory for Adrian Haley. He gets the victory in his pro debut. Valentin, the tough luck loser, drops to 2-2. We're going to be back with more from CES 58. This has been a very busy year in 2019 for CES. Let's take a look back at some of the action from CES 57 just a couple of months ago. Take a look at some of the highlights tonight. Of course, here's Pat McCrowan in the opening bout here on UFC Fight Pass, taking on Andre Hall. And guys, Hall just showed tremendous amount of poise against a guy who's become a real regional favorite.
Yeah, all surprised with his ability to grapple. It didn't surprise him, though. Look at his face. Wonderful performance. I like him.
And of course, in the female division, the strawweights in action. Cayenne Rain coming in, the veteran of 4 fights, taking on Hillary Rose, who had that 3-fight win streak. Again, the calmness of demeanor. And now we've seen, Tom, in her last 2 fights, Hillary Rose really impressive on the ground.
Great ground skills, back and forth action last time. This time gets the W. I have no clue what a woman wants, but I'm pretty sure Hillary Rose wants to be on that UFC Boston card.
Yeah, no kidding. She threw out the foul-mouthed words. I mean, I don't know if people can handle them. And then this kid was so good.
How about, yeah, Tateki Matsuda. What more could you say about this guy? Just tremendous accuracy in everything he does. He's a master of his craft, guys.
Really, truly.
Just doesn't make mistakes, Tom.
One of the most technical fighters that we've seen here at CES, and one of my favorite guys to watch technically in MMA.
And how about Johnny Cupcakes, the veteran of 27 fights coming in? There's that big shot against Chris Matino. Not always a finisher, but landed the big blows tonight and just really put on a clinic against a young fighter who was looking to get back in the win column.
I asked him hey, did you design those those sequences for your opponent? He's like, nah, I throw that a lot. But the repetition was what made it so good. And then this one, Sean Soriano, watch him just wade in. This is just so elegant.
Soriano in big need of a win tonight, and there's that right hand, the bink as Robin calls it, finishing off the spider. Not something a lot of fighters have done in New England, by the way, through the years, to stop that guy and not let him exert his will on you. But a big win for the Providence native as he tries to make his comeback to the UFC as well. And of course, an emotional finish for Dennis Piven, our co-main event. There it is, the left hand, fighting in the memory of his late trainer Keith Allen, and just put on a clinic tonight in his first fight in 13 months. A real inspirational win for Piven.
You see the way he's performing, the way he's drinking it all in, but then it starts to hit him now, right there. The memory of that, you know, he's free from those emotions in the fight, and then it all rushed back. And then
of course, Tom, our main event, and there it is. Greg Rebello once again throwing the bombs and landing a big knockout win. Not bad for a guy that wanted to retire.
What's better than watching the heavyweights bring the beef, baby? Greg Rebello.
Don't forget, coming up next, CES 58, live from the Connecticut Convention Center in Hartford. That's coming up on September 7th. All your favorite fighters back in the cage. And of course, back here at Twin River in October, the 25th to be exact, CES 55, also on UFC Fight Pass. If you're sick of us, too bad. We're not going anywhere. We'll see you next time, Cageside. At CESMMA.com, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CES MMA. We will see you Cageside.
Let's keep the action moving and welcome our next combatant to the cage. Ladies and gentlemen, Jornel Lugo.
Welcome back, cage side from CES 58. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich live on UFC Fight Pass, and now we're taking a look at bantamweight Jornel Lugo, originally from West Palm Beach, Florida, now fighting out of Connecticut, 23 years of age, making just his second appearance in a tough match tonight. Really always fun to see guys step up early in their careers, and we just saw him not too long ago at CES 56 winning his first pro bout by first round guillotine submission over Josh Oxendine. Said he learned a lot, really, Pat, and we talked about this in some of the previous bouts. Learned a lot mostly from his amateur losses, believe it or not, before he got into the pro ranks, and now he's applying it as he gets here to the stage where it really all counts.
Well, I mean, look, an amateur career is kind of important, to say the least. Cut your teeth, take your losses, learn your lessons early on, and refine your game, because once you step into the pro level, and especially once you get into televised and then onto the UFC and ONE FC and some other organizations, look, people are playing for keeps. You get hurt. If you mess up, you get hurt. You get hurt badly. So it's important to have a tight game.
Lugo decided at the age of 14 that he wanted to turn pro, and he's made that dream come true, but admits that he wants to get off to a much faster start as a pro amateur career. In his opinion, was kind of slow. He had fights that were kind of spaced out, never really had consistent action, and now here he is just 2 months after making his professional debut at CES 56.
And his opponent, making his way to the cage, Harris Bonfiglio.
Now we're ready for Guilford, Connecticut's own Dirty Harry, Harris Bonfiglio. It's Harris Bonfiglio Jr. His father was a Taekwondo master in Brantford in the 1970s, trained a lot of up-and-coming fighters, and taught his son how to fight himself. He said he was bullied at school when he was 6 years old, so his father took it upon himself to teach his son how to fight. Next thing you know, he's competing in Taekwondo World Championships when he's 8 years old. Tried out for the U.S. Olympic team, broke his back, could not compete, ended up resuming his career, and now turns professional as a mixed martial arts fighter. And he said to us before the fight, listen, I was born for this. And you kind of have to agree with it when you think about his background, his father teaching him, having his father in his corner. It's a really interesting dynamic. Sometimes father-son combos don't work in combat sports, but it looks like it's worked here. Here is our tale of the tape. Harris Bonfiglio coming in from Guilford, Connecticut with a record of 2-0, both wins by submission, taking on Jornel Lugo from West Palm Beach, Florida, now fighting out of Connecticut, also with a submission win on his record. Both fighters on the nose, 136 for Bonfiglio at yesterday's weigh-in, and Lugo weighing in at 135. This one should be real exciting in the bantamweight division. I'm looking forward to it. Two young fighters with a lot on the line, willing to step up and fight each other at this stage in their careers. It's really inspiring to see. We're going to send it up now to our ring announcer, Adam Palazzo, for the official introduction.
The following fight is brought to you by Timeless CBD. Visit them in the arena tonight or online at timelesscbd.com. This bout is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in the bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks. He weighed in at 135 pounds. His pro record, 1 win, no loss, with that 1 victory coming by way of submission. Hailing from West Palm Beach, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, Jornell A1 Lugo. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks. He weighed in at 136 pounds. His pro record, 2 wins, no losses, with both victories coming by way of submission. Hailing from Guilford, Connecticut, ladies and gentlemen, Harris, Dirty Harry Bonfiglio. Your referee is Mr. Keith Peterson.
Both of you have been given your instructions. Touch gloves if you like. Let's fight.
All right, here we go. Ready for the bantamweight action here at CES 58 live on UFC Fight Pass. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich. We've got Harris Bonfiglio in the black trunks, Jornell A1 Lugo in the white with the orange lettering. 2 unbeaten fighters early in their careers, testing the waters, Pat. You always love to see it.
Yeah, putting it all on the line. I'm interested to see Bonfiglio's Taekwondo background blended in with his other MMA skills. Always dangerous Taekwondo fighters because of the spinning techniques, the fast kicks. Always have to pay attention, man. You cannot get out of position with those guys.
Neither fighter in 3 combined fights has been out of the first round yet, so we'll see how that plays out early. Certainly a higher level of competition. Nice overhand right.
Quick, very quick release.
Lugo catching him on the way in and send him down to the canvas, but Bonfiglio pops up pretty quickly. Nice start for Lugo.
Real nice start. Very quick kicks. Quick lead hook. Digging his forehead in. Good positioning.
Lugo has that submission background too in his arsenal. He trains with Jesse James Kazakowski, who's on a fight later on in this card.
Yeah, I don't know what the referee broke there before. I couldn't tell whether he was grabbing his glove or what was going on. Maybe an infraction of some sort.
There goes Bonfiglio shooting for that takedown, and he is somewhat getting it. Anyway, Lugo doing a nice job to stay on his feet temporarily.
Tried to ankle pick it. Nice job pulling that out.
Bonfiglio going for it. Lugo's tough. He's got the leverage against the cage, but Bonfiglio just bulldogging his way in there. 3.5 to go in round number 1.
He needs a limp arm out of that. Next time they go down, limp arm out of that wizard. But he maybe didn't, I don't know. Doesn't know that technique, maybe.
Lugo doing a nice job turning him back around.
Good knee by Lugo to the rib cage.
Another knee to the other side, trying to soften up that midsection. Again, Lugo going to the well with the knee. Bonfiglio tries one of his own, so we have a exchange of knees here early in this first round. Now Bonfiglio trying to grab that left leg with a takedown. Nothing doing on that. 2:48 to go in round 1. Some interesting strategy early on by both sides. Both of Bonfiglio's wins coming this year.
Lugo's got. He's very quick.
Yeah, it seems like the speed definitely favoring Lugo thus far.
Nice job splitting the guard with his knee.
Lugo coming into this fight said he wants to show that he's got the skills to pay the bills, so we'll see. So far it looks pretty good. Tries to catch Bonfiglio with the left hand on the way up. Now drops that left in. Yeah.
Nice kick to the body.
Lugo looking real comfortable early on.
He's just letting him walk into stuff. Lugo's countering him. See how he's catching him coming in. Nice transitional knee, that hurt his body.
Yeah, Bonfiglio's hurt. He's in some trouble here, and that's going to do it. That knee to the midsection, I think Pat was the one that set it up.
Yeah, absolutely. That hurt him.
Bonfiglio, you could see wincing. He crumples to the canvas, and Lugo just pours it on. Big win for Jornel A1 Lugo, taking on previously unbeaten Harris Bonfiglio and stopping him in the opening round. And so once again, that streak of not getting out of the first round continues.
There's that quick release hook. Here's the knee to the body, right. Ooh. Oh, yeah, you can see him double over. And then the knee to the head sends him to his knees.
Good quick stoppage. Bonfiglio was in a lot of trouble there and about to sustain more damage. And you're right, he's just so fast. You see how he gets out of the way so quickly.
Yeah, there's the knee to the body.
It's like a matador, just, yeah. And he would set that up. He had 4 or 5 early when they were against the cage clinch.
Right.
And it ends up becoming the weapon of choice and really the finisher for him in this fight. So a nice job by Jornel Lugo. Now 2-0, both under the CES MMA banner. He just won here recently at CES 56. Great finish. And again, trying to show those skills that pay the bills. This is a guy that got into mixed martial arts a little late in his career at 14. Some guys start when they're 7, 8 years old, but making up for lost time so far as a pro with 2 big wins. Let's send it up to Adam Palazzo for the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, 3 minutes and 27 seconds into round number 1 by knockout, and still undefeated, Jornel A1 Lugo.
I don't have.
There it is, 3:27 into round number 1. The victory for Jornel Lugo. Once again showing off the skill set. And we're going to send in Pat Miletich. He's going to talk to our winner, Jornel Lugo.
All right, guys. All right, I'm in here with Mr. Lugo. Mr. Lugo, tell you what, you've got great angles, very good speed. I noticed right off the bat you were doing a good job sidestepping, using your lead hooks, using your low kicks quite a bit.
Yeah, man, look, there's only one thing I ever seen pay the bills, and that's skills. I'm coming for 1 or 3 things. The CES belt, Bellator better scoop me up, or UFC better scoop me up. I'm taking all these boys out one by one. Stop playing with me.
So, as far as when you went into this fight, his taekwondo background, things like that, were you worried about any of the spinning techniques, anything like that? You know, obviously, no matter how good a fighter you are, you can get caught with that stuff.
Facts. Everybody keep telling me, watch out for the kicks. On all his footage, you gotta watch out for the kicks. I study, like I'm paranoid with it. Like, my daughter, I'm paranoid with it. Like, I can't get it off my mind. I think about this all day, every day. So for my next opponent, just know, be ready, man, because I'm gonna be ready.
I have a feeling you may be fighting for a CES title here in the near future, my friend. Great fight.
All right, there it is. Jornel Lugo with the skills that pay the bills. He improves to 2-0 with a big win tonight over Harris Bonfiglio at CES 58. And, of course, we've got more to come tonight. Michael Parenti and Pat Miletich bringing you all the action on UFC Fight Pass. And, of course, don't forget, we're going to be back in Rhode Island October 25th at Twin River Casino Hotel for CES 59, the return of unbeaten welterweight prospect John Gotti III. Always exciting when John Gotti gets inside that cage. That one's going to be fun to watch. Always remember, go to CESMMA.com for your tickets. Tickets and group packages are available both on the website and by calling 401-724-2253. That's CES 59 coming up soon. But now we have more action tonight here at CES 58. Don't go anywhere.
CES is having a huge show. You guys got to come out and support local boxers. Chad Dawson's on the card, WBC legend, so you guys definitely got to come out.
Yuri, what are you looking forward to more? Fighting in this building or fighting on that card?
Fighting in this building, man. This arena is awesome. The atmosphere is crazy, so I'm pumped for it.
Mr. B's excited about this guy. If Mr. B's excited about someone, you know he's going to be a good guy. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Yuri Pandrov! Before we get to October the 11th, we have more hard-hitting action right now here at CES MMA 58, live on UFC Fight Pass. Let's welcome our next fighter to the cage. Ladies and gentlemen, Robbie LaRue.
Welcome back, cage side from the Connecticut Convention Center in Hartford, Connecticut. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich, bringing you all the action from CES MMA 58 live on UFC Fight Pass. And here's another familiar face, Pat. Robbie LaRue from Fall River, Massachusetts, 35 years of age, making a bit of a comeback late in his career. We haven't seen him in quite some time. It was a 5-year layoff before he returned in March and actually fought Harrison Bonfiglio, who we just saw. That fight occurred just a couple of months ago. So now LaRue looking to get back in it, get some fights under his belt. It can be tough though, right, at a later age, at that stage in your career, to take that much time off and try to get your rhythm and timing back.
Well, it depends. Was he busy, at least still training in martial arts and refining his skills? If not, then he was at a standstill. But either way, he's coming back as a more mature individual, physically, mentally, spiritually. So, that's generally going to help you to a certain extent.
Now, LaRue's had some other layoffs in his career, had a 2-year layoff between 2012 and 2014, had 5 bouts canceled during that span, so we know he's itching to get back into that cage tonight.
Yeah, when people are basically ducking you.
And his opponent, making his way down the aisle, Pete Rogers Jr.
Now, Pat, we talked about father-son combos in combat sports. Do they work? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. This one has certainly worked. Pete Rogers Jr., you see there on his left, his father and mentor, Pete Rogers Sr., who began training his son when he was 3 years old. He has since grown and evolved into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt and owns 2 major records with Bellator for the fastest knockout and fastest submission in his weight class. That, of course, is the featherweight division. So Pete Rogers tends to make quick work of his opposition. He's yet to go the distance as a pro. All 8 of his fights have ended before the final bell. But he comes into this one on a 2-fight win streak. Both of those fights, as we mentioned, were with Bellator, but they occurred 2 years apart. One in 2017 and one this year in 2019. So he's had some time between bouts. We'll see how that plays out once these two get inside the cage. This will be Rogers' 4th appearance with the promotion, and here is our tail of the tape. Rogers coming in at 4-4, fighting out of Norwich, Connecticut. 3-1 on that ledger with 3 wins by knockout, 1 win by submission. Came in yesterday at 144. Definitely has the height advantage at 6 feet. LaRue coming in at 5.5. He weighed 144.5 yesterday on the scale. 2 of his wins coming by knockout and 1 coming by submission. And again, we mentioned that LaRue had a lot of time off, but in the time that he was active, he had multiple appearances with CES MMA that included fights against UFC veterans Tateki Matsuda, who we just saw recently in Rhode Island, and Joey Gomez from Maine, who fought twice for UFC as well. So he has gone in there with some elite competition. That could be something that he could use to his advantage when he goes in there against a guy who's coming in on a nice win streak.
Sure.
And with that said, Pete Rogers making his way inside the cage. Let's send it back up to Adam Palazzo for the official introduction.
This is the Cortez Coffee Company bout of the evening. Good coffee that's lovingly made. CortezCoffeeCo.com. The following fight is scheduled for 3 rounds in the featherweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black, white, and red trunks. He weighed in at 144.5 pounds. His pro record, 5 wins, 5 losses, with 2 big victories by knockout and 1 by submission. Hailing from Viva for Riva, Massachusetts, ladies and gentlemen, Relentless Robbie LaRue. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks. He weighed in at 144 pounds. His pro record, 4 wins, 4 losses, with 3 big victories by way of knockout. Hailing from Norwich, Connecticut, ladies and gentlemen, Pete the Heat Rogers Jr. Your referee is Kevin McDonald.
Guys, we went over the rules in the back. It's 3 rounds in the Unified Rules of Mixed Martial Arts. If you don't have any questions, you just touch gloves. You can return to your corners. Good luck.
All right, Robbie LaRue looking fired up in that blue corner, ready to get back in action. Only his second fight in the last 5 years. He takes on Pete Rogers tonight. Rogers, of course, in the black trunks, and LaRue in the black, red, and white. Rogers coming in with two-fight win streak under his belt, making his 4th appearance with CES. And first in quite some time, but he did win he won his 2nd pro fight with CES in 2014, so he's been at this for quite some time. LaRue trying to get a quick takedown.
Yeah, I mean, at 5'5" against a 6-footer, probably a smart thing to do.
Almost picking him up off the canvas. Rogers doing a nice job.
Oh, he's got his neck.
And he's got the guillotine. He actually picks up LaRue. LaRue's using the cage. You don't see that every day. He's just got him by the neck, lifting him off the canvas. Now gets the takedown.
Nice work.
LaRue does slip out of it, though.
This is where he wants to be against a taller fighter. You do not want to be in their guard on the ground. Cross sides, you've got big advantages against a taller fighter. Very tough to get you back in guard if you're decent at staying there. A lot of elbows, options for submissions where you can just stay on top, not lose position. So he's sitting good right now.
We'll see what Rogers can do here in this position. And quite honestly, hasn't been really in this spot quite that often. He's had some quick finishes in his career.
Good shoulder pressure there. You can see how he's crushing his head to the side. It's called turning the face away from the machine. Very tough to deal with if somebody's good at that.
LaRue back in the CES cage for the first time since 2014, which coincidentally was his last fight before he returned in March.
Huh.
And that was against Sateki Matsuda. We've seen a lot of him in the past.
Now he's in the guard. Now he's going to deal with a lot of submissions from the bottom. Complicates things a little bit.
Robbie, elbow. Yes, elbow. Hand on the face. Elbow. Watch the triangle. He's long.
Nice ankle pick. Sweet ankle lock attempt to a heel hook. It looks like he's digging for. Yep. Oh, he got it.
Wow.
He just wrenched on him hard. He messed his leg up.
Unbelievable. Robbie LaRue seems almost surprised. Yeah, that's a tough
snap.
Quite literally a tough break.
Whether it was a tendon or a ligament or what it was.
Yes!
Rogers in some obvious pain here, and he has to submit very quickly, and you're right, it's probably something broken there. You heard that snap from cage side. Robbie LaRue with an impressive victory.
Looking forward to seeing that replay again. He hit that really quick off that sweep. Here's the ankle pick. So he grabs both and then extends his legs right away. LaRue going for this. Watch him sliding down to the heel, trying to hook it with his forearm. Radius bone makes contact and crunch.
Oh yeah, there it is. Immediate tap.
Yeah, something crunched or tore. A lot of times it's soft tissue damage first, and then the bones start to give way, or the joints.
A tough luck loss of Pete Rogers, who basically taps after suffering an injury.
Got to have a big sense of urgency to get out of those.
But give a lot of credit, obviously, where it's due to Robbie LaRue, who just did a nice job, really. I mean, looked like early on he might get guillotined in the opening seconds, but reversed, did a nice job, kept his poise, and just really, at this point, maybe one of the bigger wins of his career. It's the first time he's won a fight in 5 years, and you can see the obvious celebration and just the anxiety and everything just pouring out right now. So, big win for LaRue. Let's send it up to Adam Palazzo for the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, 1 minute and 55 seconds into round number 1 by tap to heel hook, relentless Robbie LaRue.
And LaRue gets the win, 155, submitting him with the heel hook. Rogers at least on his feet, which has to be some good news.
It's going to be sore tomorrow.
Right here.
That adrenaline probably just keeping some of the pain away. But in any event, it goes down as a loss for Pete Rogers. And a rare one. But at that, as it goes, Robbie LaRue now improves to 6-6, evens his record up. Pete Rogers dropping to 4-5, a tough loss for him, submitted at 155 in round number 1 to the heel hook. Plenty more to come here at CES 58. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich. Don't go anywhere. We've got 3 more exciting bouts on our main card. Don't forget, we've got Jesse Kozakowski coming up next, the submission specialist in the lightweight division. And, of course, the big heavyweight, Parker Porter from Hartford, right here in his backyard, returning to the CES cage. And, of course, our championship main event. But don't go anywhere. We've got more. We're going to send it up to our official ring announcer, Adam Palazzo, to introduce our next bout.
CES 58 continues on here tonight, live from the Connecticut Convention Center, as we welcome our next combatant to the cage. Ladies and gentlemen, Reggie Merriweather.
I'm wondering where Mr. Mayweather is.
There he goes. Superman in the flesh, Reggie Merriweather, as CES 58 rolls on. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Militich, and Cincinnati's own Reggie Merriweather, 28 years of age, coming in, making his second appearance with CES, his first since 2015 when he fought rock star Louis Felix at Twin River Casino Hotel. Now, Merriweather has 27 pro fights on his record. He's won 13 of them, but you take a look at the competition, who he's fought. His last of 4 opponents boasts a combined record of 37-12. So Merriweather's been in there against some tough competition. And Pat, as you know as much as anybody, you can learn a lot in those bouts regardless of the outcome.
Well, I mean, ultimately, I mean, you've got to train hard. You've got to have good coaching. You've got to have great training partners, steel sharpened steel. But quality of opponents when it comes to actual competition is really what ends up making you a lot better than your competition as you move down the road. Of course, you know, unfortunately, a lot of guys can be mismanaged, put in against people that are, you know, far above their talent level early in their career or technical level, and they can take some losses early on. But if brought along right and you gradually step that competition up, you can build a fighter the right way.
Merriweather, certainly no stranger to winning either, had a 5-fight win streak at the peak of his career between 2016 and 2017. So this is a guy that can turn the switch in an instant. This one should be good, as Merriweather now makes his way inside the cage, waiting for his opponent.
And his opponent making his way to the cage, Jesse James Kosakowski.
The hometown favorite from Waterbury, Connecticut, Jesse James Kosakowski, 23 years of age. He enters this bout. 3 wins, all by submission. We've seen some tremendous technique on the ground from Kosakowski early in his career. It's going to be interesting to see what he does against a guy with experience. Make no mistake about it, this is a nice step-up fight for Kosakowski early in his career.
Yeah, I mean, with only 3 professional fights going against a guy with that much experience, yeah, it is definitely a step up.
And this is a guy who's been thrown to the lions early on. He made his pro debut with Bellator and then fought for reality fighting as well. Those are 2 elite promotions that certainly bring out the best in the competition. Here is our tail of the tape at CES 58. Reggie Merriweather coming in from Cincinnati, Ohio. 6 of his 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Slight height advantage at 5'10", 74-inch reach. He takes on the young Kosakowski, the 23-year-old prospect from Waterbury, Connecticut. All 3 of his wins, again, coming by submission. He weighed in at 165 yesterday. This one should be exciting. And, of course, it's worth mentioning again, we talk about father-son. Jesse Kosakowski's father, Ron, began training him when he was just 4 years old. So another fighter who was bred from a young age to be in this position, learn the grappling techniques. He also works as a teacher at the gym he trains at Practical Self-Defense Training Center as a grappling instructor. So this is a guy, when they talk about I'm always in the gym, he's literally always in the gym, whether he's working or training. So he's really put that work in.
Yeah, when you're an instructor, you have to teach it correctly, so you're refining your own technique at the same time.
All right, let's set it up to our ring announcer, Adam Palazzo, for the official introduction.
The following fight is scheduled for 3 rounds in the lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the red, white, and blue trunks. He weighed in at 164.5 pounds. His pro record, 13 wins, 14 losses, with 6 big victories by way of knockout. Hailing from Cincinnati, Ohio, ladies and gentlemen, Reggie Merriweather. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks. He weighed in at 165 pounds. His pro record, perfect. 3 wins, no losses, with all 3 victories coming by way of submission. Hailing from Waterbury, Connecticut, ladies and gentlemen, Jesse James Kosakowski. Your referee is Mr. Keith Peterson.
Both of you have been giving you instructions, touch gloves if you like. Let's fight.
Now, Ron, I try not to read too much into body language here, but I'm just having a hard time not noticing a difference here. Kosakowski fired up, energetic, ready to go. Merriweather, much different approach. Maybe that's just part of being a veteran in this game. He seems a lot more laid back in his technique and just the way he's looking early on. You see one guy bouncing up and down, the other guy not. I mean, do you read into stuff like that?
Not necessarily, because the guy that looks totally relaxed is, you know, sometimes can be pretty dangerous.
Yep,
That's
right
a
off the
body
bat
shot
there,
by
yeah.
Merriweather.
Body shot that went back upstairs. So Merriweather does come out firing.
He does have quite a bit of negative movement in his punches. He pulls them back before he lets them go. That's very, yeah, a lot of telegraphing, He's hitting hard, though.
Oh, he drops Kosakowski with that right hand. Just as I'm talking about body language, he's raining down hammer fists on the young Kosakowski.
Mayweather should have never followed him to the ground. That's going to get him in trouble, potentially.
Well, certainly against a guy like Kosakowski, who has 3 submission wins on his record. This is sometimes where you see him at his best. Look at this, Ron. Pat, rather. He's got Merriweather twisted like a pretzel here early on in round 1.
Yeah, he's going to end up sliding into mount here, scooping his legs out. Mayweather is in a little bit of trouble. I don't know how much Mayweather works on his grappling.
Certainly put a lot of effort into the striking in those first few seconds.
Mayweather strong. He's posting up with that arm. Kosakowski needs to pull that post arm out.
Kosakowski driving upward with that elbow to try to soften him. And again, now the knee to the midsection. That really hurts him there. Yeah.
Mayweather getting up to his feet. See if he can get his back off the cage here. He's going to lift that underhook and circle out to his left. Kosakowski blocking him with that right leg. Now he's not. Mayweather doesn't have a scratch on him from those elbows. I have no idea how.
3 minutes to go in round 1. Reggie Merriweather taking on Jesse James Kosakowski. Kosakowski has Merriweather against the cage, drove a knee into the midsection. Now is going for that single leg takedown. See if he can get it.
Merriweather, he's lifting the underhook now. He just needs to lift it more and turn himself out of there. Here comes an elbow. Nothing wrong with putting your hand on the face. I think he was worried about the fingers in the eyes, though.
Oh, back kick upstairs, but Kosakowski goes down. Is he stopping the fight? The referee stops it. Kosakowski ate a right hand or a left, I believe.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, he looked like a limp noodle when he went down. So the referee reacted in a way that, you know, trying to protect him, obviously, and he snapped back out of it.
Very interesting, but Reggie Merriweather with the upset against previously unbeaten Jesse James Kosakowski. You see the ringside physicians, he insists that he's fine. All right, Pat, we're gonna take a look at this replay here.
Here's a hook kick coming from Kosakowski. And
it
Merriweather
lands, but the right hand
right
follow.
on the temple. Shut the lights out for a second, then he spun.
I don't know.
It's a bit of a quick stoppage, but look.
It's tough at that speed. It's easy for us when we see that slow, slow motion.
Yeah, but he went face down, totally limp, you know. So I understand why the referee jumped in initially. But hey, look, this is not the UFC. These guys aren't fighting for millions of dollars and world titles right now, so it's okay. You know, it's one of those deals. It's better to lick your wounds and come back and look. He's healthy.
Sure. Well, it's something to learn from, certainly, going forward for Jesse James Kosakowski. We're going to send it up to our ring announcer, Adam Palazzo, with the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, 2 minutes and 37 seconds into round number 1 by knockout, Reggie Merriweather.
Crowd not happy with the decision or the outcome, but Reggie Merriweather gets the win by knockout, evening his record at 14-14. A big upset here at CES 58. We're going to set it into Pat Miletich to talk to our winner, Reggie Merriweather.
Okay, I'm in here with Reggie Merriweather. Hey, listen, you came out right away. You were throwing leather right off the bat. Obviously, look, the crowd's not happy. The hometown guy got clipped. I think they're more angry with the referee jumping in quickly. So that seems to be the problem. But look, none of this is your fault. Obviously, you came out, performed the best of your abilities, and tell me about how you felt coming out in the initial start of the fight.
I was nervous. That was it. Just nervous.
Well, you know, look, I've known about you for quite some time. You're just a nice guy from Cincinnati, Ohio, coming out here trying to make a living and win some fights. Obviously, he's very, very skilled on the ground. You knew about that. You probably wanted to keep it standing as much as possible. Is that the case?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Is there anybody would you like to come back out here and fight in front of these friendly fans?
I guess anyone Pat Sullivan asked for me. I don't know nobody out here, so yeah.
Reggie, I think it was a great performance, buddy. Congratulations.
I like to dedicate this knockout to Coach Spears, who recently passed a couple weeks ago, and yeah.
Good on you, bud. Good on you.
All right, thank you, Pat, and thank you for Reggie Merriweather as well with a big win tonight by upset over Jesse James Kozakowski, scoring the first round knockout victory at the 2-minute mark, taking down the previously unbeaten prospect from Waterbury, Connecticut. Anything can happen when you get inside that cage, guys, as we know, so definitely don't want to turn your back on anybody. And coming up soon, we've got CES MMA 59, October 25th at Twin River Casino. That event featuring Connecticut's own William Knight, who's going to join us momentarily. Make sure you tune in live on UFC Fight Pass. That one's going to be good. And of course, William Knight, the man sitting to my right, big win on the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. Earned a developmental contract with the UFC, so you're going to be seeing his name up in lights pretty soon. And of course, you're seeing some of the action here. This was your 4th pro win against Kevin Haley. You're not one that likes to go the distance, do you? You get out of there pretty quickly, as we've seen in your previous fights. All 5 of your wins have come by stoppage, and you just continue to roll on. William, welcome to the broadcast.
Welcome, thanks.
How does it feel now? You are a UFC fighter.
It feels the same. You know? Just now I have secured opponents to destroy in the cage.
Well, you're sitting, of course, to a UFC legend, Hall of Famer Pat Miletich, who, of course, someone you can learn from and draw inspiration from. But tell us a little bit about going into that whole experience when you were out there in Nevada fighting on the Contender Series. You've seen a lot of local fighters go there. Hasn't turned out well for everybody. Some guys win and still don't get a deal. You were able to accomplish both.
So the whole experience was crazy. Like going out there, the hotels, the PI itself with all those guys for that fight. I met like OSP, Forrest Griffin, Yarmelo. I was meeting these big timers because they were getting ready for the fight that same week. So I was able to work with Rashad Evans. I was able to work with, well, King Mo was there, but he was cornering the guy I was fighting, and he was real rude. But the experience was crazy. But leading up to that fight, it was the stare down. At the stare down, it was just crazy. He was just staring at me and just gave off this crazy aura, like I'm gonna hurt you. So I just latched onto it, and I was ready to fight right at the end. My hands started shaking. Everything, I just had to walk away. Like he didn't break eye contact, nothing. So that whole experience was crazy up to the point where I had to fight in front of Dana White himself. And believe it or not, my corner where I sat with the stool, Dana White's right behind me. So every time I walk to my bench, I'm like shaking my hand. I'm like, I got this. So that whole experience was crazy, fighting a guy like that. His pressure and just he lacked cardio that I had. So I start slow and start building up. He started strong and then started to taper down. So that's when he made his mistakes.
And being under that pressure obviously helps quite a bit when it comes to growing as an athlete and really as a man. I mean, now you're playing for keeps. The guys are there to hurt you. Obviously, they've got skill sets that can do it. Yeah. So you really have to refine your game, right?
Yeah, so we've been working more on our stand-up because my coach doesn't like the fact that I can take damage, because if it goes in the judge's hands, then clearly I'm going to lose unless I finish the fight. So I'm finessing on my stand-up, but it's more so just me being confident in my grappling. So if it goes to the ground, I'm just like, all right, let him burn himself out, and then I'll finish him up when I'm ready.
Right.
All right, William Knight joining us. He's going to stick with us for this next bout. We got heavyweight action on deck. Let's send it up to Adam Palazzo for the official introduction.
Time now for our featured heavyweight bout of the evening. Making his way to the cage, ladies and gentlemen, Jerlay Broenstrup.
And here he is, the 38-year-old heavyweight veteran Jerlay Broenstrup, originally from Rio Grande, Brazil, now fighting out of Massachusetts. He comes in with a big record, 16-6, 5 wins by knockout, 7 by submission. Very much like our friend William Knight here, does not like to go the distance, likes to get guys out of there early. Making his second appearance with CES MMA and his first since 2017 when he defeated Pat Walsh at CES 42, so no stranger to the New England circuit. Actually had some time off, 2 years to be exact, and returned this year, fought twice in Russia. Went on to some elite promotions out there to kind of test the waters a bit, and now he's back, and I'm sure at this weight class in this region with his record, probably tough to get some fights. You kind of go sometimes, Pat, wherever you can get him.
Yeah, when you start fighting Russians, I mean, it's a different level of monster when you start competing against those guys. I competed against them in MMA, of course, and some wrestling, and they're a different animal. They're very, very tough people, and yeah, you're on the A squad when you start beating people like that.
Well, Broenstrup, of course, began his career as a middleweight, believe it or not, in 2013. He's also fought at light heavyweight, now moving up to the heavyweight division at the age of 38. So he has shown some ability to adjust. We'll see how that works out for him tonight.
And his opponent, coming down the aisle, Parker Porter.
And here he is, the hometown hero, Parker Porter, fighting out of Hartford, Connecticut, 34 years of age. He comes in with a record of 9-5, 3 of those wins coming by knockout, 4 by submission. Just won his last bout here at CES 55 by second round submission over Kevin Sears. We're going to see some of that footage right now. And overall, Parker has won 3 of his last 4. This is his bout from CES 56 back in May against Kevin Sears. You just see the sheer strength, tossing Sears against the cage and finishing the bout with some ground and pound. Sears was completely overmatched in that fight. Second round submission victory for Parker Porter, and it was a big one. He's had a nice run going since returning to the cage over the last 4 years. It's been a bit of a slow stretch of fights, but he has been productive when he's been in there. The only loss was a controversial one at CES 53 back in the round when he lost by disqualification for blows to the back of the head. Protested that fight, obviously did not go anywhere, wasn't happy with the call, but again, a learning lesson. And now he is back here again, fighting in Hartford for the second time. And by the way, Parker Porter, notable for being on the first ever CES card, CES 1, back in 2010. So it's come full circle,
staying power,
57 events later, to be here at CES 58. So here is our tail of the tape in our heavyweight co-main event. Jerlay Broenstrup from Rio Grande, Brazil, coming in at 16-6. Definitely the more experienced fighter, weighing in at 235.5 yesterday, standing at 5'11", and he takes on Hartford's own Parker Porter with a record of 9-5. 2 of his wins coming by knockout, 3 by submission. He came in yesterday at 265. We're going to send it up to Adam Palazzo for the official introduction.
This is your co-feature of the night. 3 rounds in the heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks. He weighed in at 235.5 pounds. His pro record, 16 wins, 6 losses, with 5 big victories by knockout and another 7 by submission. Hailing from Brazil, ladies and gentlemen, Jerlay Broenstrup. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks. He weighed in at 265 pounds. His pro record, 7 wins, 5 losses, with 2 victories by knockout and another 3 by submission. Hailing from Hartford, Connecticut. Ladies and gentlemen, Parker Poole. Your referee is Mr. Kevin McDonald.
All right, to the center, please. All right, gentlemen, there's 3 rounds in the Unified Rules of Mixed Martial Arts. We went over those in the back. If you don't have any questions, I wish you the best of luck. If you'd like, you can shake.
All right, Parker Porter taking on Jurley Broenstrup in our heavyweight co-main event. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich, UFC Hall of Famer, and William the Nightmare Knight, the newest member of the Ultimate Fighting Championships, to my right. He'll be back in the cage at CES 59, but for now it's CES 58, live on UFC Fight Pass from the Connecticut Convention Center in beautiful Hartford, and we're ready to get these heavy-handed heavyweights underway. Parker in the white trunks, Broenstrup in the black. Parker had a 3-year layoff between 2015 and 2018, so it appears after these last couple of fights that he's shaken off some of that rust now, Pat, and he's really rounded back into that form that he had early on in his career.
Right. Something else that I'm noticing, as far as Broenstrup's career coming from, middleweight on up to heavyweight throughout his career, when you look at Parker Porter and you look at Broenstrup, you look at the hips and the legs, and you can see that Parker Porter, he's definitely a heavyweight.
Yes.
Like, he's always been a heavyweight. He's going to have massive power because of those legs and hips. We're going to see what Broenstrup can do to deal with that.
Again, Broenstrup, of course, starting as the middleweight. He eats a nice overhand right there. Yeah, he's almost slipping. Yeah. A lot behind those punches so far, William, thrown by Parker Porter.
What he needs to do is step out, range out, step, and throw the overhand with the stepping side. It's going to connect. I see it.
We'll see if Parker Porter can follow that advice. Working on the legs a bit too just a moment ago. 3:40 to go in round number 1. We are cage side at CES 58, our heavyweight co-main. Yeah. Sneaking a couple of those right hands in. Porter on the offensive.
He's trying to counter that jab, trying to come over the top, right?
Nice quick left there by Broenstrup. I think Porter's taking your advice, Pat, working the legs.
He's not even moving Parker Porter with those punches, at least yet.
Porter's got roots on that canvas with those tree trunk legs.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I've sparred with a lot of heavyweights in my younger days, and it doesn't feel good to get hit by it.
You don't want to get hit by this guy either on your right.
I know. I'm staying down here. You're within his arm's reach. Go ahead and say something to him. Make him mad.
5-0, William Knight joining us here. Porter just charging forward again, working the legs. We saw some earlier fights where the fighters who were softening those legs tend to be more successful. And you're right, Porter's got those thick thighs, the calves. Tough to move him with those shots. He just keeps coming forward. 2.5 to go in round number 1. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich and William Knight.
Yeah, counter that kick, beautiful.
Oh, there's that second right.
I told you.
Broenstrup gets to his feet, but maybe not for long. He's eating some shots here, trying to defend himself.
Better get on his bike like he's doing, start dancing around. Hoping the big boy wears out a little bit.
Oh,
again. Overhand right.
That left hand is low.
Yep, and he now flips that left jab back to with the kick, changing levels, going upstairs, downstairs.
Parker Porter's got good, I tell you what, he's got pretty good technique, and he moves well for a big man.
See, Broenstrup's landing, but it's doing nothing, and Parker's just walking right through it.
That's, like I said, one man's a heavyweight, the other one isn't.
I was surprised, William, that Broenstrup got up from that second right hand that dropped him. I thought that might be all she wrote.
Yeah.
Broenstrup can only hope that Parker Porter runs out of gas.
Oh, William, you know a little bit about this. You waited out your opponent on the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. Cardio was a big factor, so maybe that could be something that Broenstrup, if he can survive enough, maybe play the rope-a-dope a bit maybe and try to take advantage. But it doesn't appear that Porter's really much of a movable object at this point.
Yeah, Porter's last fight, you would think he was getting conditioned, like his conditioning wasn't there, but he started to turn up the pace as the rounds went on, so you really can't count him out.
Porter now pressing Broenstrup against the cage. 1 minute to go in round 1. It's been all Parker Porter thus far.
Quick elbow.
Flips that jab.
Oh, that about folded his leg in half.
Some nice offense mounted here by Broenstrup, but Parker just keeps pushing right on through. Stiff left jab by Parker.
You saw that one come.
Yeah, Broenstrup read that one well. But like William said, Porter's seeing it. He's seeing the opening and going for it. 10 seconds to go in round one. Plenty of action in this bout. Broenstrup just pushes Porter to the cage and down to the canvas. But won't have enough time. Parker bloodied up a bit there at the end of the round. Blood trickling down from the nose, but don't let it fool you. It was all Parker Porter in round one. Really good start for the heavyweight.
Yeah.
Look for his range, landing that overhand. Guys are coming in with his left hand down. He needs to keep his guard up. Then he's throwing the left kick, so when he's throwing that kick, it's making him question if it's a kick or overhand coming.
Now we'll see what Porter's corner tells him in between rounds. Broenstrup just getting some work too. Very interesting. It's been fun watching Parker Porter over these last few bouts because it's just all offense. He just comes charging out of the gate, really wasting no time to exchange pleasantries, not trying to initiate any feeling out process. He just goes right after it. It's exactly what he did in his last bout against Kevin Sears. We're seeing much of the same here. He just really wears you down. He's a big guy. He's built close to the ground, so it's just tough to push him off that stance.
Yeah, I was just going to ask William real quick. You know, if you're in Broenstrup's corner as his coach, what are you telling him to do to change his game up?
He needs to get him to move. He needs to move. Start angling off, circle out on him. But Porter's just adjusting to everything he's doing. So
I think it has a lot to do with technique, right?
Sure.
I mean, he's a little cleaner technically, right?
yeah, he's ready. He's composed and just ready. He's not panicking. He's just chilling.
Nice kick to the midsection there by Broenstrup to open up round number 2 of a scheduled 3 in the heavyweight division. Michael Parenti joined cage side by Pat Miletich and William Knight. We're live from CES 58 on UFC Fight Pass, bringing you all the action from the Connecticut Convention Center. And so far, it's been Parker Porter's fight. And there he is again, just...
Parker Porter was getting his jab parried, and then he adjusted and feinted the jab and threw the hook, and then followed up. I mean, he is making adjustments as this goes.
And we'll see if Broenstrup can work some of those angles. Now I think Broenstrup complaining of an eye poke, but Kevin McDonald telling him to just get at it.
I mean, Broenstrup needs to, I mean, he's got to snap his jab. He's got to touch him, move, get out of the way. Don't move straight back like that. You got a freight train coming at you.
And we'll see if he can make some of those adjustments that William talked about, fighting more on angles and just trying to adjust to whatever didn't work in round 1 for him, as he ate a lot of shots. And quite frankly, I was surprised he got up from some of those. He went down pretty hard midway or toward the end of the round, but showed nice composure to get back up.
It's starting to limp, but
yeah, Porter
low
continues
kick
to keep,
starting to put in that work.
He keeps charging forward, Parker Porter. Relentless in the attack. 3.5 to go in round 2. Our heavyweight co-main event. There goes Porter again. Now Broenstrup runs out of real estate for a second, but gets back to the center of the cage.
Broenstrup seems to be moving a little bit better right now. Quick shots there. Even a feint, a fake. My goodness.
Yeah, I think he's taking some of William Knight's advice here between rounds. Definitely not as stationary as he was in the opening round.
Parker Porter pretty good defensively, actually. He covers up well. Nice parry, head movement there.
Porter keep working those legs, slowly but surely trying to chip away at the taller Broenstrup.
Go back to throwing those leg kicks.
And I agree with you too, Pat, on the head movement, the technique. He ducks under some of those shots by Broenstrup, which are telegraphed, but he's getting out of the way, and then he counters on the way up too. Now some nice inside action here. 2:15 to go in the round.
I think Broenstrup looks a lot better this round than he did in the first. He's starting to land.
Absolutely. And he too is getting out of the way of some of those shots, which he wasn't doing in round 1.
Yeah.
So
he's checking all the kicks now.
Definitely much improved. Porter trying the knee up the middle.
Didn't land, landed on the forearm.
Broenstrup tries the spinning back kick.
Gotta set that stuff up, man.
Yep.
Throw a hard cross and then miss with the left on purpose to get your spin going. You cover up their head and then you hit them in the solar plexus or the liver with your heel.
Oh, Porter catches the leg and just throws Broenstrup to the canvas. And now here comes some hammer fists if Porter can find his range. 1:19 to go in round number 2. The first real action on the ground in this fight. It's been all stand-up thus far.
You gotta have some seriously long legs to go high guard on a guy that big.
Porter trying to free up the right and left so he can rain down some shots, but Broenstrup doing a nice job just keeping him locked up. Still 40 seconds to go in this round, so a lot of time.
Definitely a lot of time.
Certainly if you're on your back too, right?
Yeah.
And you finished your opponent late in that round, didn't you?
Yeah. All I heard was 40 seconds. Had to turn up the heat.
Oh, Pat and I always talk about it. Sometimes you can steal that round, or in your case, finish it, but certainly you could steal it going toward the end anyway. And Porter trying to finish with a nice exclamation point here these final 10 seconds as he got the takedown, which is almost more of a throwdown. Nice right to the temple to end the second round. A good finish for Parker Porter, but a better round for Jerle Broenstrup, who I thought for the first
Yeah, he was moving better, landed more shots.
Sure.
William, who would you give that round to?
I mean, I feel a Porter with the takedown, you know? The takedowns nowadays starting to win and secure rounds. So.
And it's the final imprint on the judges' minds, right?
Yeah, like you don't want to finish on your back, you don't want to finish on the cage.
Right.
I'm always adamant about it, guys, that sometimes if you finish strong, it can be the difference maker, really, when you go to the scorecards. And I think round 1 clearly went to Parker Porter. Pat, William, and I talking about it in round 2. A better round for Jerle Broenstrup, but maybe at the end, that little slip up there where Porter caught the leg and tossed him to the canvas. Didn't really get a lot going on the ground, but he had him in a bad position.
He landed some good strikes.
Yeah.
He landed some good bombs down there. Not a ton, but he landed some.
It's very familiar with my fight that happened. The same thing I did with my guy on Contender Series. I stole the round the same exact way. Catch the kick and sweep.
There you go.
There it is. So we'll see if the judges feel the same way, if it's 2-0 Porter or if it's 1 apiece. Either way, I think both fighters would be in their best interest to come out with that sense of urgency coming in round 3, because you never know, right, Pat, what's on those scorecards as you head into the end. Nice hug and embrace here by 2 competitors going into round number 3 of our heavyweight co-main event.
You don't need to go into details. Just say good sportsmanship. Give him a kiss, a peck on the cheek, good slap on the ass.
I like to paint a picture. Nice overhand right there by Broenstrup to start out.
Broenstrup coming.
Yeah, he's landing some shots here now, Pat.
His corner must have told him he needs the round.
Seen both guys coming out swinging. Broenstrup just pushes off, gets Porter right against the cage. Knee to the midsection. Really starting to show some of that veteran savvy.
Showing good endurance, what it's showing for big guys.
Keep that hand up, Parker. Parker has to keep that hand up.
Porter eats a nice stiff jab from Broenstrup.
Now Parker throws that right hand with the leg kick.
Broenstrup's a totally different fighter right now, don't you think, than the first round, what we were seeing?
I think his corner told him something.
Yeah.
It's been night and day from round 1. Broenstrup looking even better than he did at the beginning of round 2 as he comes out.
Moving better, jabbing better, everything.
Another jab. He's light on his feet. Really feels and looks comfortable.
Sometimes this is that slow start, a game changer.
Yeah.
Overhand right by Broenstrup. Parker now lands a right to the chin. It doesn't look like he has as much zip on the punches, Pat, as he had in round 1.
Right. Oh, spinning elbow.
Spinning elbow almost could have been a difference maker there. Round 3 of this heavyweight co-main event. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich and William Knight. We are cage side in Hartford. CES 58 live on UFC Fight Pass. This one's been a lot of fun. Nice uppercut there. In the
so Bruce Stroup needs to be flexible enough to bring his knee up, straight up close to his body, and then torpedo it in over that arm. When somebody defends like that, you can butcher him.
Back to the spinning elbow again. Porter a little more prepared for it this time. 2.5 to go in the final round. We're halfway through round number 3. It's still anybody's fight.
Stroup showing he's got the gas tank, buddy.
Looking for the takedown.
Hurricane Dorian's come through on that one.
Porter a little slow in that right counter when Broenstrup went with the spinning elbow. Almost just sort of grazed him on the chin with that.
I don't know if I'm shooting a single on that tree trunk.
No.
How about you, William? I'm not doing it, man.
It's been done.
I know, but I'm not doing it.
Right. Wouldn't be the first time.
Shut
down, and that's it. It's all over. Straight left hand by Parker Porter ends it. Comes out of nowhere with the KO, and this Hartford crowd is on its feet. It's a raucous environment here in Hartford. What a finish for Parker Porter.
That was an entertaining heavyweight fight.
Sometimes all it takes to win is that one shot,
One shot that you don't see.
Yeah, exactly.
That whole round, I was watching him get caught over and over. I'm like, maybe his chin is strong.
Wow, what a finish for Parker Porter. We're gonna take a look at the replay here.
Check it out. Both guys were looking good at this point. And here it is. Quick
Short
little
left. Yeah, right to the chin. Hit him on the sweet spot.
Williams 100% right. He did not see that punch coming.
No, and neither do we. Of course, we don't need to see it coming. Broenstrup, of course, needs to be a little bit more, at least adept to seeing it happen. But it came out of nowhere. It really wasn't part of the arsenal. And there again, you just see the separation, and there it is. I mean, he clips him right on that spot. Sometimes it's almost impossible to aim for it, isn't it? You just kind of have to get, not lucky per se, but just to get him in the right spot.
Yeah, it's just you vision and you put your attack where it should be. So in the beginning of the round, he was connecting. So he got comfortable with getting hit. And that's it.
Certainly Knight saw something in the arsenal, or something maybe in the lack of defense by Broenstrup to unleash that short right cross. And this time it lands and it ends in a big knockout win for the hometown favorite, Parker Porter. We're going to send it up to our ring announcer, Adam Palazzo, for the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, 3 minutes and 17 seconds into round number 3 by knockout, Parker Porter.
Andrew and Blake, I love you, baby. Daddy be home in the morning.
Can I talk to you?
Hey, how are you, sir? Good to see you again.
Okay, guys, in here with Parker Porter. Parker, look, that was a hell of a heavyweight fight. You guys, I mean, at first round, you were very dominant, moving very well. And it seemed like he got a second win there in the second round a little bit.
Right around when I lost mine. And I stepped onto the defense. Yeah.
So, as in that third round, he came out strong again, though. It seemed like he, again, had pretty good win for a big guy. And, you know, what were you thinking as he was starting to land more and more punches?
Well, I knew I was starting to get tired in the third round, but I was pretty confident that I won both the first and second. And not to sound like a boring guy, but my mentality was stay alive and don't get taken out. You know, keep hey, great job. Congratulations. I heard you just became a father. Thank you. Congratulations. Go home and take care of your baby, bro. I got two of my own at home. Great job, guys. Good work. Thank you so much for the competition.
All right, back with you now. All right, so listen, great fight, great technique. We enjoyed it a lot, and we don't always get that out of heavyweight fights. What's next for you? I mean, is there somebody wearing a belt that you'd like to go against, maybe?
There might be somebody wearing a CES strap, or there might be a vacant title. I'm not sure. But I would love to get a shot at that heavyweight belt for CES. I'd like a chance to get that strap. I got the reality strap. I'd like to add the CES one to my collection as well.
I think that's a great fight. Parker Porter, great fight, buddy.
Parker Porter with the big win and perhaps lobbying for a title shot in the near future. Here's one more look at that knockout victory. You see both fighters just clinch against the cage, William, and look, you see Broenstrup kind of has the guard down for a second, and there it is. Right on the sweet spot for Parker Porter. One more right hand for emphasis, but Kevin McDonald quick on the draw to step in there and stop it. And maybe, just maybe, Parker Porter will have a shot at that heavyweight title. Last I checked, it belongs to Greg Ribbs Rebello, so we'll see if Ribbs is watching tonight what he thinks about that. I'm sure matchmaker Pat Sullivan will be on the phone soon. So Parker Porter gets the big victory, knockout in round number 3, and a fight really at that point, Pat, that was up for grabs.
I think it was. I mean, Broenstrup was performing well, doing a great job. And I think Parker Porter, being the true 265-pound heavyweight that had to cut to get to that, you know, he's definitely going to have some power. And Broenstrup got caught.
There will be a lot more action coming up on UFC Fight Pass. UFC Fight Pass bringing you boxing on October 11th. CES Boxing making its Fight Pass debut October 11th right here at the Hartford, Connecticut Convention Center. And here we take a look at some of the action that's going to be coming up. CES Boxing, of course, making its home at Twin River Casino in Lincoln, Rhode Island, and now coming back to Connecticut for the first time since 2005. Some of your favorites, Mike Valentin, Ricky De Los Santos, of course, always in action, always staying ready. They're going to have a loaded fight card coming up here, featuring, of course, the two-time former world champion and pound-for-pound king, Bad Chad Dawson from New Haven, Connecticut, who will be making his return to the ring after a big victory at Foxwoods Casino in June. He now comes back to his hometown of Hartford to fight in front of his fans. That's going to be a great fight card. And of course, we mentioned early on in the broadcast, CES MMA 59, October 25th in Lincoln, Rhode Island at Twin River Casino. Our friend William Knight's going to be a part of the action there. Taking a little bit of a break before he steps into the UFC cage under the bright lights, but once again under the bright lights of UFC Fight Pass that night. That one's going to be a lot of fun as well.
William, are you able to talk about what you have coming up next? Have they told you anything yet?
I mean, we have an opponent, fights locked in.
You can't
I'm
say
ready to
anything
go.
though?
I mean,
we don't get some breaking news here, or what?
We're on UFC Fight Pass, for God's sakes.
I don't know if they allow me to say what I can and can't say.
Yeah, they probably want to be the ones that release it.
Yeah, that's what they said last time. They're like, let us be the ones.
Don't get yourself in trouble right when you start with the company. That's what I did.
I'm looking to have most of my fights with CES. I'm looking for that gold. I want that gold before the big one. So.
Well, that title could be up for grabs sometime in the future, and who knows, like we said earlier on, maybe that heavyweight belt might be up for grabs again if Parker Porter is ready to get back in the cage. We've had some great action tonight, guys. I got to tell you, really from start to finish, we've seen some grappling, we've seen stand-up. Very impressed with Parker Porter early in this fight. Reggie Merriweather with the big upset victory.
Huge upset.
A huge upset against Jesse James Kosakowski, who dropped to 3-1 for the first time. I can't really ask you about how to rebound from a loss because you haven't lost a fight yet. So I would have to defer to Pat Miletich about just that mentality for a young fighter. If you were in his corner off a loss like that, obviously devastated, what do you tell a young fighter?
Look, you shouldn't have to tell them anything, to be honest with you. If they put the proper amount of work in and they still lost, you know, that's an even tougher pill to swallow. It's the athletes that deliberately don't put in the work. Then in the back of their head, they have that as a fallback for failure, right? But it's the ones that truly put in the work very hard, and still lose. Those are the ones that are the winners ultimately. They're going to suck it up, get back in the gym, fix, and be responsible for their mistakes and fix things and end up being a champion. That's the kind of guys you want in your gym. And the other guys you don't. You don't want the guys that aren't going to put in the time.
So as an amateur, I did suffer a loss by decision at Mohegan Sun. I had lost my second fight at heavyweight, a weight class I didn't belong in. And after that fight, I just knew from there never leave it to the judges. So if you kept track of me since then to now, you would see I have a 100% finish rate. I do not like leaving it to the judges.
Right. Yeah, because ultimately, I mean, judges are human. They make mistakes, right? And they can, I mean, their decisions can really dictate the rest of your professional career. And that's a bad deal sometimes for guys where, you know, all of a sudden they're not fighting for the title. They're not fighting for the pay-per-view money, part of the pay-per-view money. You're not making millions of dollars like you thought you were going to, So Williams spot on, man. Go out and finish people.
Absolutely. Well, we've had some great action tonight, guys, but we're not done yet. It's time for our main event, our world title bout. Let's send it up to Adam Palazzo for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, Connecticut Convention Center, those watching at home and UFC Fight Pass, it is time for your main event. 5 rounds of mixed martial arts fighting for the welterweight world champion. Let's welcome our challenger to the cage. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Lozano.
CES 58 rolls on live from Hartford, Connecticut on UFC Fight Pass. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich, UFC Hall of Famer, and UFC's newest star, William Knight. And we are now ready for our main event. Here comes Chris Lozano back in action for the first time since 2016. This is the guy who's faced some of the best of the best. He's competed on 3 different seasons of the Bellator welterweight tournament in his heyday, seasons 4, 5, and 6, taking on some of the best. He beat Brent Wiedemann in 2011 in the season 5 welterweight tournament. Went on a year later to compete on season 6. Here's a guy that started wrestling at the age of 5, earned a Taekwondo red belt when he was 17 years old. Now, he took some time off after 2016, but he's remained active. He's coaching, he's working corners, tutoring younger fighters on the local regional scene. So he actually said, listen, I've learned a lot from coaching. I think it may have actually quadrupled my knowledge.
It does. I mean, without a doubt, when you're competing as an athlete and coaching others, you're constantly refining your game, you're getting better and sharper, without a doubt.
Lozano, a 5-time Bellator event. He went 2-3 with the promotion, mostly in his career in 2010 and 2012. He's taken on some notable fighters in his time. UFC veteran Eddie Gordon, 8-time UFC veteran to be exact. Bellator veteran Doug Lima, who sports a 31-7 record, and also took on UFC and Bellator veteran Lyman Good, who is now 20-5. So here's a guy who is seasoned. He's got 14 pro fights under his belt, and he's taken on some real elite competition. This is going to be a real fun fight and a real much-deserved return to the cage tonight for Chris Lozano.
And his opponent, the champion, making his way to the cage, Vinicius de Jesus.
And here comes the champion. You want to talk about pressure, guys. His first fight with the promotion with CES was a title fight at CES 55 against Philadelphia's Jeremiah Wells. And at the time, Wells was coming in hot, taking down everybody in his path, a guy that nobody on the scene wanted to face. But here is Vinicius de Jesus. He was a 4-time Bellator vet, went 3-1 with that promotion, decided, you know what, this is my opportunity to shine and to earn that gold. He went in there, he outworked Wells, took the title, and now tonight Pat comes in for the first time, and as he told us before this fight, doesn't feel like he's quite the champion yet until he actually goes out there and defends it.
Yeah, that's the way it always is. I mean, you can get lucky and win a world title, but if you can keep it for a while, a couple fights or a couple years, then yeah, you're a champ then.
He has taken some time off. He had 2 children. He and his wife took some time off, a year in between fights, to help with raising the child, but now says he is as focused as he's ever been. He actually kept busy this year with a couple of grappling matches too, just to stay fresh and stay sharp, and now he gets in here tonight for the first title defense. And here is our tail of the tape. Lozano coming in at 10-4, 8 of his wins coming by knockout, something to keep an eye on. 1 win by submission. He stands at 6'1", slight height advantage, but not too much, and he weighed in yesterday 1 pound under the limit at 169, taking on the reigning CES MMA World Welterweight Champion, Vinicius de Jesus from Rio Grande, Brazil, who now trains out of Stamford, Connecticut. The Brazilian bad boy enters with a record of 8-2, 3 of those wins by knockout, 2 by submission. He came in at 170 on the nose yesterday. This one is going to be a war. Let's send it up to Adam Palazzo, our ring announcer, for tonight's introduction for our main event.
This is the Feng Chop House main event of the evening, the official home of the CES MMA 58 after party. The following bout is scheduled for 5 5-minute rounds for the World Welterweight title. Introducing first, the challenger, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks. He weighed in at 169 pounds. His record, 10 wins, 4 losses, with 8 big victories by way of knockout, and another by submission. fighting out of Warehouse Warriors and representing Cleveland, Ohio, ladies and gentlemen, Chris the Cleveland Assassin Lozano! And his opponent, the champion, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the gold trunks. He weighed in at 170 pounds. His pro record, 8 wins, 2 losses, with 3 big victories by knockout and another 2 by submission. Fighting out of WEB MMA, he is the current welterweight world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Vixias, the Brazilian bad boy, the man in charge of the action when the bell rings, Mr. Brian Miner.
Gentlemen, we know the rules in the back. It's for the title. Fight hard, but keep it clean. If you want to touch gloves, do it now. Good luck to you both.
CES 58 rolls on. We are cage side for our main event. Michael Parenti joined by Pat Miletich, UFC Hall of Famer, and William Knight, light heavyweight UFC contender. And this one's going to be fun. Vinicius de Jesus in the camouflage snake, I would say snakeskin trunks. Would that be an accurate depiction?
Or brown and white.
Or brown and white. We could just go by the colors. Chris Lozano in the black as the bell rings for round number 1 of this scheduled 5-round title bout in the welterweight division. Vinicius de Jesus coming off his title win at CES 55 right here in Hartford, when he took down Jeremiah Wells, the reigning champion. Now, Lozano, of course, as we mentioned, has had some time off. This is his first fight since 2016, so we'll see if all the usual components come into play, rust, etc.
De Jesus looks like he's got a pretty crisp, straight jab. Oh, beautiful.
Nice overhand right by Lozano. Sends the champ tumbling to the canvas, but he pops up pretty quickly.
Double jab to that hard cross.
A nice start there for Lozano, the challenger. It's important, Pat, right? You come out in a title fight, crowd is all in favor of the champion. Sometimes you can land a shot like that and really quiet things down and just settle into a groove.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's also nice to put some power down on somebody and let them know you're not to be played with. That's the most important exclamation point in all of this right now so far.
Well, if Lozano didn't have De Jesus' attention, he certainly got it with that right hand. But De Jesus has recovered nicely.
Well, De Jesus went from jabbing to grappling pretty quick, too, didn't he? Yeah. He gets swatted like that.
De Jesus, of course, went 3-1 with Bellator. Had a nice 4-fight run, spaced out over a few years. And then, of course, his bout at CES 55 was his promotional debut, so this is just his 2nd fight with the company.
He threw everything on that right hand, huh, Bill? William or Bill? I had a brother named William, but I called him Bill.
De Jesus getting his momentum back a bit after that early scare. Lozano walks into that crisp jab. Now De Jesus landing some rights,
good
uppercuts. Fighting on some nice angles, too, early in this first round. Just under 3 minutes to go. This one's scheduled for 5 rounds in the welterweight division. Lozano, the challenger, taking on De Jesus, the champion. We are once again live on UFC Fight Pass.
Oof. Capoeira.
Yeah, going for broke with that one. Just grazes the top of Lozano's head.
Standing tall.
He does have that slight 2-inch height advantage.
Lozano got to figure out how to control the pace here. Very aggressive young man coming after him. Smart job feinting and faking while he was backing up against the cage just to get De Jesus to back off for a second so he could slip out. It's a veteran move.
We mentioned that this was Lozano's first fight since 2016. It's also only his 2nd fight in the last 7 years, so he's had some gaps between bouts. But a golden opportunity to fight on UFC Fight Pass for a world title, hard for anybody to turn down. And Lozano certainly taking on that opportunity at 36 years of age.
Sure.
And, you know, like you mentioned, Pat, coming in against a much younger, somewhat faster opponent who's working at a higher pace. De Jesus, 29 years of age. Trying to work that jab now.
Yeah, got to be careful. He was not committing on that. Get caught in limbo.
Nice job on the angles by De Jesus early on in this opening round. 57 seconds to go.
Throwing a spinning back fist there. He had to bail on it.
Levanta a mão, esquerda mais alta. Mantenha a esquerda alta. 20 segundos. 20 segundos.
Final 15 seconds to go in round number 1. This one's scheduled for 5. A welterweight world title main event. Vinicius De Jesus taking on Chris Lozano.
Oh, he got rocked there.
Nice counter now. De Jesus letting his hands go in those final 10 seconds, closing with a bang as Lozano backpedaling. Nice little exchange there at the end. And I'll tell you guys, this is somewhat interesting, Pat, too, because if you go back to the fight against Jeremiah Wells, I thought early on in that fight that De Jesus didn't do a good enough job cutting the cage off. Wells was more or less on the outside, and I don't know if you remember this night, right? I mean, he was kind of circling the cage a little bit, trying to pick his spots. And I thought it took a while for De Jesus to kind of get that rhythm and find the ways to cut the cage off. It looks like early on, though, tonight, guys, doing a great job on the angles and not letting Lozano really just circle.
Bringing him back to the center.
Now, William, who do you have winning that? Because Lozano obviously got the knockdown, but De Jesus landed a lot more strikes.
I mean, the knockdown counts.
Right.
So
it's tough. That's a real tough round.
Chris took the round, but if he were to take him down, then it could have gone either way. But he kept it standing.
So you give it to Lozano 10-9.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad scorecard. I think, and I agree with you, he landed the best shot of the fight, or the round rather. De Jesus maybe controlled the pace, but never really landed anything as effective as that one shot. And sometimes that's all the judges need to see, even though it occurred early in the round. Could very well be 10-9 Lozano at this point. We'll see how De Jesus comes out in round number 2. It's our main event from CES 58, live from the Connecticut Convention Center on UFC Fight Pass. Michael Parenti once again joined by Pat Miletich and William Knight. Lozano went for the spinning back kick and he left himself open. And here comes De Jesus.
Wow.
Lozano gets to his feet, but eats a couple of shots on the way up. Nice midsection kick, puts him back against the cage.
You know, that's the thing, man. A flea flicker in MMA. Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes you chew on a dung sandwich, which he just did.
Lozano certainly took the worst of that exchange, but back to his feet, back to the center of the cage. Nice early start for De Jesus, rather, who really the opposite of round number 1, where he hit the deck early on and maybe not have recovered on the scorecard.
Seems like Chris's aggression slowed down.
Yeah.
And certainly getting stopped in your tracks like that will do it. And we'll see now if De Jesus can pick his spots, fight on the angles effectively like he did for most of round number 1, which again didn't do as well in that first fight against Jeremiah Wells for the title, but did pick up the pace as the rounds went on.
Yeah, slow starters. I'm one of them.
So that's why you need a title fight. You need those 5 rounds.
Yeah, 3 rounds. I'm just warming up.
I hear that a lot in boxing too. They start out in the 4-round fights and very, very gradually graduate to 6 and then 8. And the slow starters will tell you, I need those 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds to really get going. And maybe that's something that De Jesus took to the bank against Jeremiah Wells.
A lot of guys that I went against, they didn't last too long. So,
nice swing back kick. That one lands now by De Jesus, so he turns the tables on Lozano. Now he's got Lozano kind of backpedaling a bit here. 2:40 to go in round number 2 of a scheduled 5 in the welterweight division. This is our main event at CES 58. Lozano missing with that right hand. De Jesus doing a nice job sidestepping, getting out of the way.
Nice.
That one lands.
Way to follow up. That
nice two-punch combo there by Lozano.
You know, for the Lozano, he's dealing with a faster athlete, so you almost have to lean out of the way when they throw and throw at the exact same time and catch them coming in, because if you try and go first, they're going to skate out of the way a lot of times.
Make them miss, make them pay.
Yes.
Stiff left hand there by De Jesus. Both fighters pacing themselves here. Nice kick to the midsection. That one shook Lozano a bit, sent him backpedaling. De Jesus doing a nice job here in the second round. The action slowed a bit, guys, but De Jesus, I think, getting the better of the exchanges. Again, there with the leg kick that went right back upstairs.
Steady pace, steady pace. The double jab cross was there. He bailed on it, though. I don't know why.
Chris is getting frustrated.
Yeah, it seems like De Jesus picking his spots, landing when he needs to, not leaving himself as open for the counter.
Nice body kick there.
Lozano, the big swing and overhand right. De Jesus ducks under nicely. It's been a lot of that in round 2. 55 seconds to go. Jesus with the right hand, tried for the uppercut, didn't quite land. Kick to the midsection. Really emptying all the bag of tricks here, William. He's used a little bit of everything in this round, De Jesus.
He really has.
That right hand sneaks through. Blocked the left, but the right hand gets through for De Jesus, and he's done a nice job. He's really picking him apart slowly here in round 2. Been a much better start and finish for this round for Vinicius De Jesus as we get to the final 10 seconds.
Check that kick, just leaned into it.
And it looks like anyway on the surface that he's done enough here to even this fight as we go to the final 3 rounds. So a nice turnaround for Vinicius De Jesus, the champion. And again, I think De Jesus going to the wrong corner for a second time.
1 round apiece. You agree, William?
You got to utilize that leg kick. A lot of guys don't utilize the leg kick.
Oh, it's funny, Pat's been talking about that throughout the night as not only a distance fighter, but an effective way to just slow your opponent's progress, really wear him down. You, as you said, you take down that base, and it can really turn the fight.
Yeah, it's just a matter of setting it up. I mean, if you're going to be offensive and not a counter fighter with it, if you're offensive, you got to set it up with your hands so you don't get caught with a takedown or a counter punch. And if you're going to counter with it, you got to lean off center hard, step hard, and chop that leg up when they attack. And you know that tends to take away their eagerness to attack you after it starts taking a toll on them.
Yeah, landing them leg kicks. I land a lot of leg kicks when time comes from a power fighter and rob them of their power. So when they step forward, it's like, oh, that's all you got. Yeah. Let's go.
De Jesus looking focused coming out of the red corner for round number 3. This one's scheduled for 5. It's our main event here at CES 58, live on UFC Fight Pass. Once again, Michael Parenti joined by UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich and William Knight, who you will see at CES 59 very soon, October 25th, also on UFC Fight Pass. And this is the 3rd round of a scheduled 5. De Jesus in the brown and white trunks defending his world welterweight title, taking on Chris Lozano, coming out swinging here in the opening 30 seconds. We've seen those quick flurries from time to time, right? When he gets close, Pat, he really takes advantage of the time he has when he's that close to his opponent.
Oh, he explodes. Lozano needs more feints and fakes. He's got to keep the younger, faster athlete off guard, man. Got to keep him guessing. You got to be the magician, right? Never know if it's real technique or not. That can wear a guy out when they're a little nervous. You know, now he's getting him to bite on his feints.
Lozano, at the very least, looks well-conditioned for someone who hasn't fought in 3 years, but we mentioned he's been coaching, he's been working with fighters, so he's putting that work in the gym.
Sure.
Certainly not somebody who just got off the couch to fight a week and a half ago. So, well-conditioned athlete. Cardio doesn't seem to be a factor for Lozano. Nicknamed the Cleveland Assassin.
Well, Lozano's shown he can take some of the harder punches from De Jesus right now, and you know, from what I've seen, is land one right hand on the temple of De Jesus, and he went down in the first round. So Lozano's got the power.
Yes.
He just needs to get after it and start setting stuff up.
There's a nice right hand by Lozano.
Follow up. Just got to follow up.
Yeah, it's maybe too many one punch and just kind of out of there, not really putting combinations together.
And obviously he's respecting the power out of De Jesus.
The pro De Jesus crowd getting into it here at the Connecticut Convention Center. Nice right hand that time by De Jesus. Some of these now, where Lozano may have blocked them earlier in the fight, are starting to sneak through with a little bit more accuracy as we get into rounds 2 and 3. 3 minutes to go here in this third round.
Nice setup on that.
Of course, you mentioned Lozano entering this fight 10-4, 8 of his wins by knockout, so that power has always been there. Saw it briefly in that first round.
And he's showing he's got a lot of experience against very high-level fighters. He's being pretty patient, maybe too patient, but at the same time, you know, who are we to say? We're sitting out here and he's in there.
And of course, don't forget CES MMA 59, October 25th. Our friend William Knight in the booth with us will be on that card live from Twin River Casino in Lincoln, Rhode Island. That one's also going to be on UFC Fight Pass. But for now, it's CES 58, Hartford, Connecticut, the Connecticut Convention Center. And it's world title action. De Jesus taking on Lozano. De Jesus, by the way, has a pro boxing bout on his resume.
Who does, sorry?
Vinicius De Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Went 4 rounds with the very dangerous Elvis Figueroa of New Haven, Connecticut, who's actually 7-0 as a pro. Not many guys, I've seen pro boxers who train their whole life not go the distance with Elvis Figueroa, and this guy did. So tells you a little bit something about the ability to take a punch and work. And now here he is landing some, and these are starting to connect.
He has to take his time, take his time, take his time.
Knee upstairs, double knee, triple, quadruple knee, a 50, and again, just delivering knees, and that's going to be it.
Lozano was punching back when it got separated.
A series of 5 or 6 unanswered knees. Vinicius De Jesus jumps out of the cage, kisses his infant son. He's going to bring him inside. Wow, what a sequence. He jumped right off the table into the crowd. A very exciting finish.
I had to move my head so he didn't kick me in the face.
I don't think I've ever seen William move that fast, I'll tell you what.
Let's take a look at
big
this replay
finish
real
here
quick.
for William, rather for Vinicius De Jesus.
There he is, flurry.
Eats it like
Here's
a
the
champ,
first
though.
right hand. Yeah, the referee
Go ahead,
actually
Bill,
took a shot
take it.
there.
Eats it like a champ.
Now right here, Lozano backing up, not really fighting back for the moment. Now we see De Jesus work the knee upstairs. Watch this, first knee up the middle, that kind of hits the forearm and shoulders. Now the 3rd, 4th, and 5th start to land. 5th one lands, I don't know, but you know what? At that point, Lozano was trying to punch back. William, what do you think?
I mean, when I was out in Vegas, they say you got to protect yourself, and that's not protecting yourself smartly. So you can't just sit there and take shots, even if you're in guard. The ref's job is to stop the fight, to make sure you're safe, and that's not safely defending yourself. You can't just sit there and shell up.
No, every other shot landed when he was throwing the rights and lefts, and now the knees are starting to land. Lozano does cover up, but I agree with you. It's a real slippery slope, William, where, yeah, maybe you're not sustaining as much damage, but if you're not fighting back, you know that the referee is going to step in and stop it. That's just common. Obviously, easier said than done when you're in there, but nonetheless, a big win for Vinicius De Jesus. He defends the title in his very first title defense here at CES 58. Let's send it up to our ring announcer, Adam Palazzo, for the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, 3 minutes and 22 seconds into round number 3 by TKO, and still welterweight champion of the world, Vinicius, the Brazilian bad boy, De Jesus.
Can I talk to you? All right, in here with Vinicius De Jesus. Vinicius, first round, you get caught with a right hand on the temple and go down. How hurt were you?
Man, it was damn good, you know. Thank you, Chris Lozano. Appreciate you accept the fight. You know, I have a bunch of other guys with a record way more expressive than yours, but you as a man, as a good athlete, you accept the fight. I respect this very much. You have my whole respect in here, bro. Hope you'll be okay and be on the cage soon.
Now, as the fight progressed, you seem to gain more confidence, although you seem to be cautious at times. You were trying to be smart about it, not push the pace too much. Were you just biding your time until you could get the opening?
Yeah, man, I'm a smart fighter, you know. I'm trying to always get a high level up, my forget the pronunciation, whatever. My IQ in the fight, expect. But, you know, man, a lot of difficult to get through here, you know. Only myself know how much trouble I get into to step in the cage and do my job as best I always try to do. But, you know, I did it, you know, and thanks my team, thanks my wife, my kids, you know, they take always my bad humor, you know, cut away all my stress to get to here and give you guys this presentation, you know. Takes a lot of me. Takes a lot of me to do this for you. This is for you, fans, family, friends. It's all for you.
And now also, it's also pointed out that you've done some professional boxing. And obviously that's so that your hands can remain sharp and do what you did to finish the fight tonight. Did the pro boxing obviously pay off for you tonight?
Absolutely. This is my man here. My father, he introduced me in this whole thing. You know, as a boxing coach. You know, putting me in boxing, jiu-jitsu, capoeira as well. So everything I do here, I owe to this man here and to my wife, you know. It's not only me doing this job, it's a lot of people together with me. This is why we're looking for the big show. And UFC, Dana White, I'm ready for the Lions, man. Take me over, porra!
There's your champion, Vinicius de Jesus, ladies and gentlemen.
What a showing by Vinicius de Jesus. You see the fans saying, hey, Dana White, give this man a phone call.
Feel that energy, man. Feel it.
And William, you know what it's like. You yourself have been in this position, right? You had the opportunity, you jumped, you took advantage, and now here you are. You're going to be competing on that big stage soon, and so may Vinicius de Jesus very soon, perhaps, on that stage, joining you at the top level at the UFC. But what a great story it is. Here's a guy who had some time off, helped raise 2 children with his wife. You see them both in the cage now with his wife. And then he gets his first shot with CES in a title bout, takes it and wins it. It's just a great turnaround and a great showing for the champion, who once again comes through victorious tonight. And we're going to take a look at some of the highlights from earlier on tonight. You see Will Smith in one of our prelim bouts. Pat, you and I took a look at this one. Will Smith had come off a loss in his previous bout, shows some nice grappling, some nice ground and pound in this bout, earned a nice big win there to even his record at to improve his record to 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, he got out of this situation, got his back taken, got flattened out, and fought his way out of that situation. After a while, I tell you what, not a lot of guys make it out of that, being flattened out that badly.
That's Sriracha Will Smith, who had the sauce tonight. He improved to 2-1 with the victory, fighting out of West Haven, Connecticut. And that was a big one for him in the bantamweight division. And of course, we moved on later in the evening to the cruiserweights. We saw some big action with Dan Randall and Jesse Boffman. Randall hadn't fought in 3 years. Boffman the same. These two were actually scheduled to fight one another in 2016. The fight didn't happen, but you know what? Everybody else's loss was our gain. We had the fight on our stage tonight, and it was a fun one.
Yeah, they got after it, big guys, and a beautiful key lock from cross sides. He had to tap with his leg, slapping it on the mat. He was in trouble.
And so Dan Randall getting his first pro win of his career after a 3-year layoff. His first bout only lasted 16 seconds. He made the most of it tonight. And then in the lightweight division on our prelim card, it was Cody Sheave from Jasper, Indiana, taking on Nick Giletti from Wallingford, Connecticut. This one did not last long. Here it is, Pat. Quick takedown, the slam, and then it was just all ground and pound from Giletti, who finished in style.
Cody Sheave got hit so much he thought he was surrounded. He's in trouble.
Giletti, Sheave rather did not like the call there, but it was all Giletti early on, who earned his second big win and second by knockout in his young pro career to improve to 2-0. And Cody Sheave dropped to 0-2 with the loss. It was a quick showing, but Giletti gets the win to cap off the prelim card. That one, of course, a lot of fun. And then, as we kicked it off on UFC Fight Pass in our main card, we had Justin Valentin trying to come back from a tough luck loss in his third pro bout, taking on pro debut Adrian Haley. This one tough. Pat, early on, I thought Haley, the pro debut fighter from Brooklyn, showed a lot of poise.
He did. He used his distance, his reach when they were on the ground. Great leverage. Very technical grappler as far as maintaining control, leg position. He's really got a lot of potential.
Haley, of course, coming on strong in rounds 2 and 3. He got the win by decision. Another tough loss for Valentin, who certainly stands to learn from those experiences. And then the bantamweights, 2 undefeated fighters, rather. Jornel A1 Lugo, fighting out of Connecticut from West Palm Beach, Florida, taking on Dirty Harry, Harris Bonfiglio, who was the Taekwondo specialist, but tonight it was Lugo's night.
Lugo, beautiful side steps, throwing the lead hook. Great technique. And I tell you what, he's solid foundation, really is.
Lugo talked about the skills that pay the bills, and he showed them off tonight. That knee to the midsection was what really did it. Softened up Bonfiglio. Referee stops it promptly. A1 with win number 2 to remain unbeaten. Nice technique there by Lugo.
Yeah, to me, that was a grappler versus a striker. And we all know what happens if you can defend a grappler.
Featherweight action, Pete Rogers Jr. from Norwich, Connecticut, coming in here, taking on relentless Robbie LaRue, making a comeback after 5 years off. He had just fought in March. Rogers had the fans on his side, but it was Robbie LaRue who came in there, scored the upset victory when Pete Rogers unable to continue due to injury. Take a look at this technique on the ground here, William.
Yeah, that was a real upset. I didn't expect that to happen.
William Knight, of course, they're forced to tap out after the injury. LaRue improved to 6-5, over 500 for the first time in quite some time, earning his first victory in 5 years. Tough luck loss for Pete Rogers, who dropped to 4-5. And speaking of upsets, in the lightweight division, we had the young up-and-comer Jesse Kozakowski from Waterbury, Connecticut, the submission specialist, taking on Reggie Merriweather. 27 pro bouts on his resume, never count out a champion.
I've seen this too often, where a guy who's undefeated comes in and fights a guy with a lot of skill who's been there before.
Reggie Merriweather, yeah.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it's like, what do you got to do?
Show that veteran experience to improve to 14-14, and then our heavyweight co-main event. Pat, this one was all action from start to finish. We saw Jerle Broenstrup in the black trunks get up early from some of the assault from Parker Porter. Porter actually had to turn up in the end to really survive this fight.
He did, because Broenstrup did a great job coming back in the second, and then quite a bit of the third round, you know, with great endurance. But that lead hook there clipped him on the chin, didn't see it coming, and down he went.
Parker Porter improving to 8-5 with a big win, the third knockout of his career, taking down the 23-fight vet Broenstrup in our co-main event. And then, of course, our headliner, our world title bout in the welterweight division. It was the Brazilian bad boy Vinicius de Jesus, fighting out of Stamford, Connecticut, taking on Chris Lozano, the multiple Bellator veteran with 14 fights on his record. This one, again, all action. De Jesus, I thought William did a much nicer job in this fight than he did the night he actually won the title.
Yeah. So in this fight, it was like he had a point to prove. One guy coming in off of a long layoff, and then this guy just fought earlier this year on a card I should have fought him.
That's right. You saw in round 3, De Jesus with the relentless attack. The referee jumps in, stops it. De Jesus defending the title in his first his first title defense. And like we talked about, Pat, now he is finally the champion.
Right.